Well, let's get the views of Peter Zalmayev now in New York. He is the director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative. Thank you for being with us. So what does the death of Boris Nemtsov tell us about the political climate in Russia at the moment? Because unfortunately, the country has a history of these types of killings.
Well, exactly. You know, the set for this sort of tragedy has been set in Russia for quite some time now. Looking back to 2004, when a prominent Russian-American journalist, Mr. Klebnikov, was murdered in broad daylight in Moscow, followed 2 years later by the murder of Anna Politkovskaya, who was investigating the Russian army's tactics in Chechnya. And the past year or so, since the annexation of Crimea, Russia has experienced an unprecedented rise in jingoism, nationalism, and a veritable witch hunt of figures precisely like Mr. Nemtsov, who was an outspoken critic of Mr. Putin's policies vis-a-vis Ukraine and also regarding economics, etc. Mr. Nemtsov has been branded a traitor, a fifth columnist, and this is the climate in which this tragedy just occurred.
And when we talk about Boris Nemtsov as an opposition figure, this wasn't some activist off the streets, was it? He was part of the political establishment in Russia, and in that sense, that makes it all the more shocking, doesn't it?
Exactly. This is going to send major shockwaves through the remaining opposition and dissent in Russia. Mr. Nemtsov was, I would say, top three leaders of the opposition in Russia. He has been a personal nemesis of Mr. Putin, one of the most daring and outspoken leaders. He personally organized most of the opposition rallies going back to at least 2011. And just as it was mentioned earlier, he was one of the organizers of the pro-peace march planned this Sunday.